See, the very important point is that today I am taking it of the hypothesis testing and development, that how the hypotheses are to be developed by us and we should do it. Now, in this particular today's discussion and next today's discussion also, I am going to be concentrating on the latest version of the SPSS 31. I will give you some of the clue that how it can be used. Now, before we go on, development of the hypothesis, the very important thing is happening in our doctrine study is to understand the problem. So whatever our research problem or thesis is there, it should stimulate the reader interest in the problem. It means that the problem is somewhere being affecting the socio-economical life of the society. Then we should demonstrate the importance of the problem. We should provide the current status of the problem, that how this problem is presently affecting us to the society. Now, whenever we have to do it, we have to make a genuine theory examine in the study. Means if anyone have worked on those particular problem, those we have to discuss it. And we have to study the literature in detail, and we have to identify the population we have to study. Now, coming to the purpose statement. So after we define the problem to be taken, we have to frame and state the research problem, which is basically the very critical parameters in the entire research project. So it is the foundation for the remainder of your work. So very important thing is that our research problem should be clearly defined. So it is going to be provide us the base to do the Ph.D. study further. Clearly explain the problem as a purpose statement. Some people are saying it is purpose statement. Our Gujarati based people are normally saying it is research question, Indian based population. Any words can be used by you. And you should clearly state the hypothesis. That is our today's main objectives. Now, problem statement can be written by us as either a question or it may be as a declarative statement. When we put it as a question, it is known as a research question. When we put it as a declarative statement, it is problem statement. So I said either or, you can do it. Now whatever the research question we frame, it should be interrogative in our own perception, so that when it is going to be interrogative, it is going to be take into consideration the overall value of our research study. It is not going to be happen in the haphazard way. So it may be used as a general statement of purpose to identify the sub-problem. The problem and sub-problem both are needs to be answered by us. And research questions are used in lieu of hypothesis. It means that whatever the research question or problem statement we have made, we have to make a mapping with a particular hypothesis. And we should say that it is going to be the non-experimental design. The reason I am saying, what I understand, it is for the Department of Commerce and Management of the Bhakta Kavi Narsimh Mehta University, we are doing it. So it is going to be non-experimental study design. If it is going to be the study of the medical, pharmaceutical or medicine side, medical care, then it is going to be experimental study design. So research question are normally being taken in this particular way. To understand the thing logically, I made this statement with respect to general awareness. So the purpose of this study, this is the one of the example I'm taking. The purpose of this study was to determine the characteristics of students who use health and wellness center 5 or more times per week. So number one, we have to say what is the gender profile of student who use it for 5 or more times. Gender profile means man, female. What is the Asian or ethical profile who use it? Asian and ethical profile, it means that religious wise we are taking it. What is the BMI, body mass index of student who use it, and what is the attitude to use it, means whether it is a positive attitude or negative attitude. Now once we understand the problem statement, understanding the development of the research question, understanding the development of the sub problem, before we proceed further for the hypothesis, I will take 10 minutes or 15 minutes, 10 minutes time, 10 or 15 minutes time to explain what is the meaning of statistics. Why we need the statistics for this. Statistic is used in a two sense. Commonly we refer to as a data, that is principle and methods which have been developed for handling the numerical data. Second is going to be statistic is used, is defined as a branch of mathematics or science. It's a branch of mathematics or science dealing with connection, analysis, and interpretation of data. After we connect the data, we have to analyze it. So it is very categorically defined arts and science. So statistics is a art and science for connection, organization of data, presentation of data, analysis of data, and interpretation of data. Analysis and interpretation is based on our hypothesis developed. The field of statistics is about connecting, analyzing, and managing the decisions. Now, when we try to look into, there is going to be the population we have to study. But to study the population, you require a very good point of time, which may not be possible every time. So we connect the sample. So population is the connection of all item of interest under investigation. And there we are going to be use the capital N to describe it. And the population is going to be give the specific characteristic of the population expected by us as a researcher. So that is known as parameters. Now from the population, we are going to select the sample. So it is the subset of the population. And whenever population database have been worked out, it is known as statistics. So here I am giving you the idea that here I have taken the 126 alphabet of the population, and from that we are choosing 8 of the alphabets. So here the population itself is coming to the values calculated using the population data is known as parameters. That is 26 alphabets have been taken. It's a parameters. But we are not going to study the 126 alphabets. We maybe try to study only the 8 alphabets. And that is the known as sample data, and answer received by us is known as the statistics. So here we can say that example of the population, names of unregistered voters in India, income of own families in the state of Gujarat. That is basically known as the population. We are taking the total population. Now, when we have to study the income of person, name, or annual return, they received it from the Bombay stock market, or we are trying to be look towards the average grade points of all students in our university, it is known as the variable. So defining the variable is going to be very important thing. Participants, if you have any question, you are requested to inform to the coordinator, and in turn you can raise your question to me. And if you feel my speed is more, you can indicate to me also. Okay, madam, you have to be very careful about it, that here I think you understand it. Anyone have any problem, they can come to that. Variable, any characteristics of an individual or entity. So we are going to be see the study skin of a particular individual. So I have given the definition and the books are being shown. So a variable can be take different values for different individuals. Like someone can say that I am capable enough to read the 7 pages per hour. Someone say I can read 100 pages per hour. So it's a quantitative, or it may be categorical. But there is going to be the minimum value is going to be applicable, and that is known as the constant value. Now, once we get the variable understanding, once we know the population and sample study, we have to describe the data in a Venn method. So we should look towards the oddities in the data. This is the one of the very important thing. Oddities in the data means whenever we make a sample connection, we can make a questionnaire survey or something. Some of the answers are coming outside the range. So they are known as the oddities. Those we have to remove to come down to the symmetrical database. So we can make the symmetrical database, means it is within the particular range. So we look to the tables of the data and the graph. Based on that, we summarize the categorical variables. I will come down to the categorical variables and numerical variables now, later on. Understand how this summarize and you identify the structure in your data. This is the understanding the structure of the data is very, very, very important. When we say the variable in research are measurable characteristics, you can measure it. That can change or vary, classified by their own. Like some are going to be independent variable, some are going to be dependent variable, some are going to become the control variable, where we establish the control. Data types may be categorical. It means that specific. Like we can say the student roll number is going to be categorical. But when we say the student height, it is going to be continuous, because it may be 62.2 inch also. But the roll number is not going to be 62.2. It may be 62, 63 type of that. Then we are going to be have the mediator is going to be established for that. So independent is basically known as the manipulated causes. Means when we can provide the more training to the students with respect to using of the Vedic mathematics, that is manipulated cause. Based on that, we can measure the effect, that how much mathematical calculation capability increase have been happened. So it's a cause and effect relationship. So effect is known as dependent variable, cause is known as independent variable. But there is going to be the certain value constant. Like we can say in the terms of economics, that the consumption of an individual is going to be minimum certain amount. It means that if the income is zero, still the person will require to have the consumption value that is held constant. And then unwanted influences happen, like a young generation. People are saying that we should use the data package, that is unwanted influence. You may require or you may not be required, but you can do it. Now we can say at this moment that data variable types are being bifurcated into dependent, I already explained, independent, I have already explained, demographic, like age, gender, marital status, location. Every commercial and social science research study, we are supposed to give the demographic details. That what is the age group of the sample, what gender we have tried to be looked into it, and that way. Then extraneous is going to be the hidden variable which are already being affecting the other parameters. Next, we can look towards the types of variable we have. So types of variable is broadly bifurcated into two categories. One is quantitative and one is quantitative. This is the one of the very important, because this is going to be give you the idea that how we can go on making the data types. That is also I'm going to take it because it's a part of the very important thing. Variables quantitative, it is going to be dichotomic, like a gender, man, female, marital status, married, unmarried, or it may be ponymonic, like a band of PC. So when we say the dichotomous, it means it is nominal data type. When we say the ponymonic, it means that band of PCs, PC. Now, any individual person may have the 5 to 6 band of the PC is given, or 5 or 6 type of the hair colors are there, more than 2. Then it is going to be considered basically order database. You are not giving the importance that which is based and which is made, but you are giving the order for that. Then there is going to be discrete database, where the children in family stocks on a good form. When we say the children in family and so, it is never going to be in decimal point. It is going to be in the absolute value. But when we say the income tax paid, it may be coming in a decimal point. Then it is known as a continuous database. Weight of a student, maybe 52.4 kilo, 52.6 kilo, like that. Then we say that once we understand that there are variables are there, we bifurcate the variables into the two terms, quantitative and quantitative. So there are the two branches of statistics are coming into picture. Our research project, our dissertation, one side we are supposed to give the descriptive data statistics, that is the graphical and numerical procedure to summarize and process the data, like a pie chart, phono chart, line graph is going to be given. Some of the data is going to be given in the table form. Then we are going to be second portion of the data analysis is coming, that is on the inference statistics. So we can use the data to make the predictions about it, that what is going to happen or why it is going to happen, and it estimates us for the decision making. So here the step is involved, either three, as a commerce graduate for us, and when we go it is basically cleaning and organizing the data cleaning and organizing the data, that is very important. Outliner of our database should be removed. Some of in a one particular class, the one student have secured one mark, but majority of students have secured a mark between 10 to 40. Then the student who have secured less than 10 mark is known as the auditage. So you have to remove it. Now one of the student may have secured 47 mark, or 2, 3 students, then we have to remove them. Otherwise our average is going to become too long. So that is known as the cleansing of data and organization of data. Then we should describe the data. That is, I say that gender, age, we can do it. And our main objective is testing the hypothesis and models to be established. SPSS 31 is the latest version is being available, where you can go to the SPSS 31. You can go and develop the new, open the new file. There first you define the variable value, and then data value can be given by you. When we have to give to the variable value, we require to give the scan for the same. So there are the 4 types of the scans we have. One is nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. Now when I say the nominal is specifically indicating the classification of the person who answered it. And that's the one of the very important. So it is going to be mutually exclusive and connectively exhaustive. So here the nominal scale says that there is a player, maybe man or female player. So that is the nominal scale. And those are being exhibited by the classification of correction only. Second scale we are coming to, that is ordinal. Ordinal scale have the classifications, but at the same moment it indicates the order. So ordinal data classify the variable into category, which is of a nature, order, or rank. Like we can say school grade A, B, C is a very important, or educational level. Person may be bachelor, master, or PhD, or seniority level, seniority in the industry. It may be say junior, mid level, or that. Now very important, how is ordinal data is analyzed. Ordinal data and nominal data are always being analyzed by the non-parametric statistic test, which I am going to take it on Wednesday. Tomorrow I am going to discuss about the descriptive statistics and parametric tests. So parametric test we are going to use is a frequency distribution, mode, median, range, mean, like that. Now third type of the scale we have interval, where the 3 parameters are coming into picture. Classification, order, which we have discussed, additionally the distance. SPSS 31 requires that whenever we develop our data variable view, we have to give for each constant conserve the variable type, level of measurement. So understanding this is very important, where it is taking 3 only, nominal, ordinal, and scale, because interval and ratio is used, is considered as a scale in the SPSS 31. So interval scale, where the characteristics of nominal and ordinal scale plus the equality of the distances taken. Now, if we can say that the temperature to be measured of the individual person, then it can be say 99 Fahrenheit or 100 Fahrenheit, like that, centigrade or so. So there is a equal distances there. So equal distances exist between that. So from the thermometer, we can make out whether it is 99.4 or 99.6 degree temperature. Fourth type of the measure is coming ratio. Now in the ratio, in addition to the three parameters, we are adding the fourth parameter, that is known as the nature origin. Nature origin means that there is a possibility that it may be indicated by geo also. So ratio scale may have the geo also. So characteristics of previous scale plus an absolute geo value. Number of children. No children in the family. No child in the family. Then ratio is geo. That is possible. In the case of weight and height, it may not be the geo, but possibility of the geo can be seen. Now for SPSS 31, I have taken here the point that whenever we take the employee code, so whenever we take the gender, then it is going to be man or female, and there is a measure is given, which is the nominal database. When we say the date of birth, it is a scale. When we say the educational level, then it is going to be ordinal scale, because 10 standard pass, graduate, postgraduate, double postgraduate, doctorate, like that. So it's our ordinance scale. Then we come down to the current seni, which is going to be in the ratio form. But in the SPSS 31, it is considered as a scale only. I already said nominal and ordinal and scale. These are the three type of the data view, variable view are being provided by the SPSS 31. But in that particular case, the NAS2 is covered under the category of the scale. Now, here I have given the view of the data view. Earlier slide I mentioned that how there is a variable view can be developed, and here the employee code and Shenny information and everything have been given by that particular way. Now gender, it is said man, man, female, man, like that. Now once we get the SPSS 31, we can parallelly create the descriptive database, where we can say that you arrange the data based on the current sending and also the beginning sending. It means that when the person have joined the company, what was the beginning sending, and now what is the end sending. So descriptive statistic is covered. We are trying to be establish the univariate, bivariate and multivariate analysis, which we are going to discuss is tomorrow in detail. Then inference statistics, that is to make the generalization. So when we have to make the generalization, we are going to study the parametric test and non-parametric test both also. So my own suggestion to the students presented to the participants, our research scholars, that don't try to miss out any of my session, because this is going to be the very important for the chapter number 3 and 4 of your dissertation. Chapter 3 is with respect to research methodology, where we have to discuss about the research design and the statistical test we are going to do. And fourth is going to be the data analysis and interpretation. So whenever data analysis is to be done, we are normally having the W's of the data set have been defined. Means first level we have to define that who, that is an observation. Are we making a study about a population, set of one object who are interested in obtaining the value of some parameters? Like in a school, one particular class, you may be taking the own observations on, on 60 students. Then they are going to be considered as a population because you are discussing within that. But if you are trying to be decided that out of the 60 students, the students whose your number is odd, you are selecting those students only and understanding their values, then it is known as the sample. Now, those samples you are going to define the variable. Are you planning to define the variable like a mark secured, classroom participation done? Now, if you are doing a participation, then your objective should be why you are connecting that data. As a management educator, you can say that data have been connected to know the capability of the student for the communication. Now, how was the data is connected? Whether it is being connected by developing some design or it is done by sampling. I give the example that I pick up the own students with an odd roll number, then it is design is developed. But out of 60 students, I pick up any 20 students randomly, then it is going to be sampling. When and where, whether this data is relevant or not is very important because relevancy of the data will take you towards the concept of inferences and statistical inferences. Inferences means based on the evidence received by us, we are going to draw the conclusion for the same. That is going to be inferences. Now, statistical, a set of procedure in which the sample size and sample statistics are used to make the estimates of the population parameters. By taking the 20 students out of 60 students, I found that the 20 students having a communication capability is above average. So I can say that in a division A, the overall communication capability is above average. So this is known as statistical inferences. So inferential statistics are coming based on two important parameters where we investigate our question, models and hypothesis. Very important. Now there we define the confidence interval. Here on the first above graph, I have shown a probability that data being found within the two range, where it is being given in the way of the square. So whatever the area covered by the square design is known as the null hypothesis. And area covered outside the box parameters, left hand side, my tag is there, that is known as left tail and this is known as right tail. So you find out the probability that data will found within the particular set of values. Like I can say, the students secured between 10 to 40 marks. Less than 10 marks, left tag, right tail, I am going to be say the more than 40 marks. For this purpose, whatever the square box are being given in the design, we are developing the null hypothesis. And null hypothesis is known as the HO, HGO. So when our data is coming within this particular area, it is known as the null hypothesis have been accepted by us. Correct? Null hypothesis has come into pictures. Here I can say that my null hypothesis has come into the pictures at this moment. And alternate hypothesis says that alternate hypothesis means H1, which is the ejection area. Now, it depends on your study that how would you like to be defined it. I think you got the point very clearly that whatever the shaded area given by me in the first graph is indicating the HO being accepted. And alternative size, left-hand and right-hand, it is known as ejection area. Now, when we use the statistics for hypothesis development and testing, we should know the signs to be used. You have to be very, very careful in your dissertation to use the proper sign. Population parameters are always being indicated by the Greek letters, while sample statistics are always going to be indicated by the Roman letters, like average, mu or xy, standard deviation, sigma or small s, percentage, pi or small p, slope, beta or small b. Now, here when we try to be look toward the right hand side graph, that is a theorem we have to use it. As I say that the oddities from the data is to be find out. In the beginning I said oddities from data during the time of data cleaning is required. So we should define that should I require my 95% of data should be proper place. So x bar plus minus 2 standard deviation. So when I say this portion x bar minus 2 standard deviation to x bar minus 3 standard deviation, so it is left hand and this side it is known as the right hand parameters. And this is going to be the one of the base to properly making the cleaning of data so that absolutely either side data being removed from each other. Sometimes this is very symmetrical, very nice thing which is theoretically happen. Practically this way, graph is not going to happen when you make a sample study. Graph is going to be take not exactly the bench shape, but it is going to be in the non-bench shape, and that is known as the asymmetrical. So whenever it is bench shape, it is known as the symmetrical database. Whenever it is not bench shape, it is known as asymmetrical or the skewed database, for which there is a skewness is to be measured. That skewness we are going to be understand the tomorrow in detail. Today I am just taking the words because it's a basic requirement. Apart from central tendency and dispersion, it is required to understand the shape of the distribution. Now, as we understand the problem statement, purpose statements, research question, using of the variables, and based on the variable given, what are the given of the database we have to manage, how the scale is to be maintained. And the percentage we have defined. Now, after understanding this basic level of the statistic, we should understand what is hypothesis. Nether's fans understand one thing: when it is spelled out as a SES at the end, it means it is fluent. When it is said SIS, it means it is a non-fluent. This is the majority of students. When I get a Gujarat-based thesis coming for my approval, for even US, I found this is done by majority of the student. Hypothesis word is a singular. When we can say hypothesis SES, then it is plural. So the purpose of hypothesis testing is to determine whether there is enough statistical evidence in favor of a certain belief about our parameters. Now, if we can say that once we are using the Vedic mathematics, students' capacity to understand maths is improved, then it is our belief. Now we have to prove or disapprove. Approve or disapprove the same. Now approve or disapprove can be done once we do the investigation for the same. So whatever we determine in the as a belief, it is the tentative statement. So it is basically educated and educated or informed guessing is done by us about the situation. Or you can say it is the expectation of a researcher regarding the certain variables. Now, I just make a difference between the two important things: hypothesis and problem. I already mentioned that once we come down to the problem, we come down to the research question, purpose statement, then we can come down to the research question, then we work out the different type of the data sets, different type of the variables. Now the question is coming. I told it that we should establish the mapping between our research problem, you can say research question or purpose statement, and the respective hypothesis. So both an hypothesis and problem statement contribute to the body of knowledge which support or refutes the existing theory. So as a doctor and student, we are not bound to accept. We should not worry if our assumption or our educated guess is not accepted. It is acceptable. Rejection of our understanding, our guessing, is also being accepted for Ph.D. study. So hypothesis is different from problem. A problem is formulated in the form of question. It serves as a basis of origin from which hypothesis is being developed. I will take the example of that one by one. A hypothesis is a suggested solution to a problem. Now I can say that my problem is that my MBA SEM 1 students are good in statistics or not, is my problem statement. It's a general statement. Now I develop the hypothesis that do the do the majority of the students are capable to calculate descriptive statistics or not. So I can say that 95% of students are capable enough to calculate the mean, median, and mode. That is going to be my hypothesis. So I will select the students, I will give them the work in the classroom, and I test that whether my assumption is correct or not. So hypothesis is formulated after the problem has been stated and literature study has been concluded. Like it is said that, say for example, the X state students are not good in statistics. Is one of the problem. Now to make that, I develop the hypothesis to calculate it. And so for that purpose, I need to develop the hypothesis. So I should be, as a researcher, aware about the theoretical and empirical background of the problem. Now, so the purpose and functions of an hypothesis, it offers explanation for the relationship between variables that can be tested, like calculating the mean and median. It furnishes the proof that researcher has sufficient background knowledge. This is one of the very important. So if you are doing a research for one particular area of the commerce and management, you should have the very good background knowledge should be available with you about your topic. Like you are trying to be study about a working capital management of a pharmaceutical company, then you should have the very good knowledge about the working capital management, what is that, how it is being calculated and so. So it is going to provide the direction to you to make the investigation and structure the next phase in the investigation, and therefore furnish the continuity to the examination of the problem. So characteristics of an hypothesis is coming. Hypothesis should induce the power. It means that 95% of observations are being coming within my acceptance criteria or not. It should try to furnish an acceptable explanation of the phenomena. Acceptable explanation should be given. Number three, it must be verifiable on a regular way. Fourth, it must be formulated in simple and understandable terms. So it should be simple terms. I will come for that. That is known as simple hypothesis. And it should support your existing knowledge. Your existing knowledge acquired up to the university education is not sufficient here. Like if you are trying to do the working capital management for the sake of study, I am telling that in the financial management, then you should have to read not less than 10 books on the working capital management to get the depth of the topic. Simple hypothesis, which completely specify the exact parameters that is known as ethnic P. So null hypothesis is always stated hypothesis and it indicating that exact value of the parameters. Exact value. Now I am coming to the more example on that. Null hypothesis claim that there is no effect in the population, while alternative hypothesis say that there is an effect. Like I'm just taking little bit to the pharmaceutical side. Taking taking a particular medicine, the temperature of the individual is not going to come under control or going to be come under control. This is the way. First, we can say by taking a particular medicine, temperature is not going to come into control. So that is non-hypothesis. It is going to be come into control. Then it is alternate hypothesis. The non-hypothesis to which the researcher find evidence against his perception. Normally, our perception is that okay, once we take the medicine for temperature, our temperature will come under control. But it negate. It means it gives the negative results of our perception or assumption. as it is a weak prediction, though researchers cannot find evidence in support of their claim. So it is denoted by HGO, which is a statement showing that there is a relationship between concerned variable. So null hypothesis may be coming by way of equal, greater than, or less than sign. So hypothesis testing, then I will come to the mathematical symbol of the null and alternate hypothesis after this discussion. It is the difference in contraceptive knowledge level between two group of students to convince us that the reasons of the difference between the two type of education program on and not simply chance or normal variation. Means I divide my 60 students into the two groups. 30 students are being taught through the audio visual equipment and 30 students are being taught through the board and chalk. Now I assume that there is no change in the learning level of the students either way they studied, then it is known as null hypothesis. But if I say that when audio-visual equipment is used and students' learning may be increased, then it is known as alternate hypothesis. So, in mathematical symbol, null hypothesis is described with an equal or greater than or less than sign. So, null hypothesis to be indicated by equal value, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to value. While the alternate hypothesis, they are assuming that learning level of the both group are not equal. Means maybe less than or the higher than. We can say that learning level of the students by board and chalk is lower than the audio-visual equipment. Or in other words, we can say that learning level of the students, those are being taught under audio-visual equipment are greater than the another group of students. And that is known as H1. Now, that is also known as composite hypothesis. Some students, some academicians are naming the alternate hypothesis as the composite hypothesis also. So we should not worry about it. Now, we have to define the test statistics. Very important for hypothesis development and test statistics. You will always come across to the two things, small sample and large sample. When the samples are 30 or less than 30, it is known as small sample size. For the small sample size, T-distribution test, that is student distribution test is used. The same formula when used for the large sample size, means samples are 31 or more, then it is known as Z distribution. Now, here the question is coming that what is the level of significance we are trying to say. Level of significance means that in our symmetrical curve, we have come down to the two right hand side, not non-shaded area. Shaded area was 95%, but 5% being given left and right hand side. That is known as level of significance. So in testing of given hypothesis, the maximum probability with which we would be coming down to the type 1 error is called the level of significance test. Means we are rejecting the null hypothesis, but when we are supposed to accept the null hypothesis, that is type 1 and type 2 errors, I am coming down with a very systematically in the tabular way. Table matrix the same thing, so you can recon very well. Alpha is 1% is being used for high precision. Normally, in the case of medical healthcare sector and medical science, the 1% level of significance means 99% your answer should be acceptable. But for our social science, commerce and management is also coming under the part of the social science and life science. We take the 5% level of significance. It means that there are the 5 chances in 100 we are likely to reject a correct non-hypothesis. This is very important. Means our hypothesis, non-hypothesis is correct, but there is a 5% possibility that we are rejecting it. So that there is a confidence we have is equal to 1 minus level of significance, which is by sine wave known as the alpha. So that is known as the confidence coefficient, which is represented by the beta. So beta is equal to 1 minus alpha. So when we say the 5% means 5 upon 100 means 0.05. So 1 minus 0.05 means 0.95 is our confidence coefficient. It means 95%. So the probability of rejecting a HO given that the specific alternative is true. Now, medical science it is happening. Number of times we come across that doctor is being verifying our laboratory test report, but he said that I am doubting it. You get this report done second time because he assumed something, but that is not being happening. Now, so that is known as critical lesion. So these are under the probability curve divided into two regions. Region of rejection where non-hypothesis is rejected, which I shown in the earlier time in the graph right two sides. Region of acceptance, that is the shaded area, that is non-significant region where non-hypothesis is accepted. Now, as we know that when we go to the medical test or something, doctor is saying that minimum value should be something. There is a range is given of the minimum level of hemoglobin and the maximum level of hemoglobin. So if it is goes below the minimum level, it goes to the left hand side, left hand. Otherwise, it goes to the right hand like that. If it is greater than. So a test of any statistical hypothesis where alternative hypothesis are shown as a less than or greater than, it is known as one-10 test. But when the doctors are being doing the test, they are doing the 210 test. Very important because they try to say that it should not be less than something and it should not be greater than something. So now I come to the graphical way. 110 test, it is said HO means null hypothesis mu x is equal to mu O. That is being said as a first 110 10 graph, where the acceptance region is right hand side and rejection region is left hand side. So it is 5% and 95% coming on this side. When we take the 210 test, middle side, here right hand side we take 2.5%, left hand side we take 2.5%. But here we can say that alternate hypothesis not equal to mu, not equal to. Here we say less than. Here we say not equal to. Here when we come to the right take, we are saying it is greater than. This is a very important point. Now, how this decision can be taken? This decision can be taken by us by understanding the critical value. The value of test statistic which separate the area is depends on level of significance and alternative hypothesis. Now, participants are supposed to bring tomorrow the research methodology books and the tables of the statistics with you to understand that how we can do it. So, if the calculated value of T or Z is greater than T value, table value, then you reject the hypothesis. If it is less than, calculated value is less than, then you accept the hypothesis, non-hypothesis. This is the important point. So when you are rejecting the Q, HO value, means non-hypothesis is Q, but you reject, then it is known as type 1 error. When you are rejecting, failure to reject the non-hypothesis, means non-hypothesis should be rejected, but you are not rejecting, then it is known as type 2 error. And the p-value is taken standard as a 5%. So whenever we work out the table value by the SPSS, we get the p-value. So if the p-value is less than 0.05, then we reject the non-hypothesis. This is the type 1 error and type 2 errors have been defined. When the non-hypothesis is false and we reject it, it is a correct decision. In the same way, when non-hypothesis is true, and but we are not rejecting, then it is correct decision. Otherwise, it is type 2 errors. Okay, friends, and these are the bibliography is being available. The title number 4 given here, Kanji GK 1993, 100 statistical test. Book is very important before you go and to decide your chapter number 3. You can go through any of the book of the research methodology. You will be shocked to know I have not given the name of Kothai, because Kothai book, which is C.R. Kothai book, is normally famous among the academicians, but it is very own one. So you can go to any other book, and tomorrow all participants are supposed to bring with them the statistics book with table, because I am going to indicate you that you refer to the table how and how you can dare to that venue. Do you have any question? You can ask me. I am giving you my contact detail. No telephonic discussion will be allowed. WhatsApp you can make it. Today or tomorrow or after these 3 days are over, I will, after these 3 days sessions are over, I will be putting this PPTs as a video in my YouTube link. So here my YouTube link is also being given. My WhatsApp number is also being given, and you can approach to me by the email also. No telephonic talk is being announced. You can make the WhatsApp message, I will answer it. Thank you very much to Dr. Dinesh sir and also the here to give me this opportunity to undertake the session. Now here, anyone have any question? Hello, I hope everyone got through it because there were no discussion points were coming into picture. So I was being somewhere worried that what is going on. Does it clear to everyone? Okay. So should I exit, madam? Should I exit from the scheme? Okay, thank you very much here. Meeting you tomorrow by 10. I think tomorrow we have the session on the parametric test, which is going to be happen between 10:30 to 11:30. My request is that all participants, including you, should have the statistics book. Sorry, our research methodology book should be available with them, where the tables have been given. If someone does not have the another book but they have the CR Kothai, it would be okay for tomorrow. But for further PhD study and the dissertation preparation, good book is required to be studied by them. Thank you very much to one of you. Thanks to the university to provide me this opportunity. Thank you very much.